Thanks for coming. I'm Sky, and this panel is going to be about FamilyDAO and family nouns, and the combination of family and Web3 and crypto, and why we're all here. And so there's a weird echo. It's also really loud around, but we'll figure this out. I'm going to start with Lisa, David, and Britt. They're going to give you a little bit about themselves. First of all, who here is in a family? Raise your hand. Is part of a family, right? Right? We got a lot of kids here too. Who here likes Web3? Right? So the combination of family and Web3 is a very, very new thing. You know, the corporate world has like an existing structure for how they deal with families and having children and social nets and things, but Web3 is this brand new world. A lot of it consists of DAOs, new organizations and structures, and so far it seems like family has been a little bit forgotten about. So what we've done over the last 6 months, probably since an idea originated kind of during DAO Palace this last summer, we found people in the space that really care about the family aspect and want to make it better and bring good ideas and new experiments to the Web3 space and make it better than the traditional world for families in our space, which is like our home. And so we have Lisa, I will start with. She can say a little bit about herself, how she fits into family, and how she maybe first heard about FamilyDAO.
Yeah, great. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having us here. Even just having this conversation, I think, is a step in the right, bold, beautiful direction. My name is Lisa Woken. I'm a researcher at TalentDAO and also a general DAO educator in the ecosystem. But I'm also a mom of a beautiful 6-year-old named Miriam, who's the light of my life, and a husband who works in the Web3 space and designed the beer can for Raid Brewed. And so I'm super just thrilled to have a family that crosses with the intersection of Web3. And the moment I found out about this project of FamilyDAO, one, I felt like it was starting to have a conversation that I didn't hear happening anywhere else in Web3. And two, it just really was an incredible group of people really committed to finding ways to fund and support projects in the space that have this collective mission of advancing families. And I just think that's a beautiful thing to be a part of.
Hello, everybody. My name is David. I am a father to 2 little girls, and I got introduced into this space through my wife. So we are a traveling crypto family. We've done a few events together, including going to Colombia. And yeah, I'm excited to just be here and talk to you guys about families.
Hi, my name is Brittany. I am head of business development for a security company in blockchain called Harpy. I'm also the mom of the 2 little mini hackers sitting in the front and wife of David over here. And I got into this space because I was traveling as a hacker with women's organizations that were working on expanding access to women in this space. And I was one of the moms there, and I was like, well, this is great, but other people here are moms, and we all figured out how to leave our kids behind, but how do we do this better? How do we make it more conducive to our day-to-day life? And I was approached by Crypto Witch, who was talking about FamilyDAO, roped in Hovey over here. He's been a really big part of it, and so grateful to have met all these wonderful people.
Great. So those are some intros. We're going to get a little deeper into family nouns, which is a mechanism that FamilyDAO is using. But before that, starting with Lisa, we're going to say, like, we're going to ask, what do you think Web3 and the crypto world and the DAO world is getting kind of right or wrong about families?
So interestingly enough, I just wrapped up doing a study with a fellow researcher, Pancho, interviewing 23 leaders across the DAO ecosystem on what's working, what's not, how are we leading in this space. And one of the big things that came from that was the realization of how important social support is to people's journeys into the space, their evolution and development within it. And I think especially when it comes to families, knowing that if you were to close your eyes and think about who the most important person in the world is to you, that is your family. And realizing that like somebody else could close their eyes and the most important person in the world to them is you, that's pretty incredible. And I think it's that sort of connectivity that draws a lot of people into Web3. It's the cross-pollination, it's the connective tissue and the social support that matters so much as a Web3 family. And I think those values of cross-pollination and that connectivity as a Web3 family, we're doing really, really well. What maybe we could afford to do better is merging those two worlds of the people when we close our eyes and think about those most important people. It's not always the people that we get to bring with us to the Web3 conferences or Web3 events. And so merging those two worlds together, I think is the next best step.
Yeah. Anyone else have any additional comments on what you think is either working well or poorly? You know, whether it's events, bring children, you know, anything related to family in our space?
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you're talking about what's happening positively in the space and working, like this is a great example. Like ETH Denver having consistently offered childcare to families is just phenomenal. I'd love to see that as a standard across the spectrum. Before I say like what maybe we're not doing really well, I think it's really important to note that this is not specific necessarily to Web3. Because I only joined Web3 in like the last year and a half or so, but I came from like a traditional consumer electronics background, and I'm stubborn. I had no interest in picking between being a mom and a present mom and being a career woman because I wanted to do both. And even there, I was having to really shake the paradigm. I was bringing nursing children to tech events that were dominated by men and had absolutely no infrastructure for me to be able to nurse. I was watching other women in my industry actually get kicked out of education trainings because the insurance in the events didn't cover children. And so I think it's really important to say that like this is important in Web3, and I really hope that we do this to lead the rest of industries because this is something everywhere. And we do have really great things. We are bringing in women, and I think as we bring in a more diverse skill set into Web3, continuing to support that, and like that's why we're doing FamilyDAO, right? So that we can fill those gaps.
Awesome. So FamilyDAO, you can learn about at familydao.love. That's the site. That is this community of people that care about this, that are coming together, that want to do lots of experimentation in this space. And so the one thing you need in this space is also usually money or funding so you can try some of these experiments. You actually don't need a lot of money. And so inspired by a handful of other projects, we looked at and we're using the nouns mechanism. So for those that are not aware, Nouns DAO is this mechanism that started where one noun was sold a day, all the money goes into a treasury, and the treasury is controlled by the people that hold these nouns. Nouns are these little NFT figurines that the head is a noun. That has spurred an entire ecosystem of forks and projects related to nouns. There's public nouns, there's little nouns, there's NARS DAO, which is like supporting professional athletes. And so we have this awesome group of people that care about families. And so we wanted a mechanism to bring in some funds in an awesome way to start the DAO. And so we decided to create this thing called Family Nouns, which we actually used, thank you to Zora for building Nouns Build, which is an easy platform for forking and launching a nouns fork. And as an example, these are our family, each of our family nouns. You can see family people come in all shapes and sizes and colors and things. It's not easy to launch unique NFTs where the art is on chain using pixels. So you often need an amazing artist to come in and get involved. And so David is that person, and we would like to hear what you were thinking, and because you could go so many directions with what family nouns could look like, and it did go lots of directions, and it came back to what these amazing things are right here. And so if you could give some background on the process and how we ended up where we are, yeah.
Yeah, so we were using nouns as like our inspiration because we fork nouns. So primarily we did want to try to stay true to the nouns look using the glasses in their bodies, but we wanted to make it personal to our project. And kind of what Sky was saying, you know, people come in all shapes, colors, sizes. And what I was really trying to do was trying to make a unique collection where anybody in this room or anybody in the world could hopefully find themselves in one of these characters in one way or another. So that came through, having various different hairstyles, tones of skin color. So hopefully anybody could really resonate with this person or this noun, and or maybe resonate with, have it remind them of a family member of some sort. So yeah, we just tried to have fun with it, and yeah, it was a lot of fun to do, and we kind of got to have some fun with the hats and things like that to just make it a little bit more playful, because everybody has different personalities. But yeah, primarily I just wanted to make sure that it was available for everybody to hopefully find themselves in one of these characters.
Yeah, and so these little comments about like this new noun comes up and you're like, that really reminds me of my crazy uncle. I'm gonna buy this for myself, I'm gonna buy this for him, I'm gonna drag my crazy uncle into this ecosystem. You can have a lot of fun with it. It's a newer project. We don't have like the largest awareness and user base. This QR code up here, it goes to the Nouns Build auction place. You can go to it right now. There's actually a live auction on a family noun right now. It'd be interesting. Well, I can show it to you on here. The internet was so slow, but that little maybe lady with bun hair is the current one that's on auction. There's 13 minutes left, so if you want to go to this QR and join FamilyDAO, you can do that through this mechanism. At any time, if you meet someone interested in this arena, this space, you can just have them go to the site. They can actually settle the last auction and start the next auction, and you'll get the new family noun to have a chance on. Britt, in terms of like mechanism or the fun of this auction or building the DAO, do you have any comments or thoughts related to like the idea of using nouns in the mechanism for FamilyDAO?
I mean, one of the fun parts of this project was that I was not unfamiliar with nouns, but not this intimate with it, and learning about the fork and being there while Dave is figuring out pixel art, because he's a traditional hand-drawn artist, so that was a whole amazing adventure to watch. But just really the openness of it, like the ability for us to cultivate a small group and say, look, we know that this needs to be conquered. We know that this is a topic that needs to be broached, and we want to create a platform that allows anyone interested in it to broach it. And I think it's really important to note that you don't have to currently be a parent to be in a family noun. Like Sky was saying, everyone here is currently part of a family. This is a journey that I think all of us have been on our own ways before we got together. So like a lot of my hackathon projects previously were about onboarding the next generation or making conferences a safe and interesting space for small people. That's sort of like where I'm at with it, right? We're this sort of nomadic Web3 family, but I think the really interesting part of this protocol is that, yes, like that's a box that we fit in, and there may be more people in this room that fit in that box, but our family DAO is so diverse, and we all have different backgrounds and different needs, and really getting to hear that conversation has been the most interesting part of it. And I'm really excited as we expand to see like how that grows and changes and things like that.
Yeah. This obviously is going to start as a very small experiment with not too much money. Anyone that has ideas that they want to experiment with can come. We don't use Discord, we actually use Common Ground, which is kind of like a Web3 Discord. You can find it on the home site, familydao.love. You can come with ideas. Obviously, you can participate by getting a family noun, and that allows you to make proposals to fund using the treasury. I like to think about like this idea, but like 1,000 times the size. Imagine if this thing grew 1,000 times, and we had people that work in the DAO space and the Web3 space that are here that like have an emergency, and like there's no corporation that's going to look out for them, and if they live in the U.S., the government structure might not even look out for them. Maybe Europe's a little different, but what if this family DAO could like come in and help someone in need? It could be a really big ask. It could be it could be a small ask, but it's really cool to think about. So each one of you, I'd like to ask, like, we haven't had many proposals to family nouns yet. So anyone can bring some. But if you could imagine like an awesome proposal that could come to Family Nouns once we have a decent amount of funds to start giving out as grants, what would you like to see as a proposal, like as crazy as you can think? Yeah.
Well, I think right now, one thing I do know is a lot of my friends are having babies. They'd love to be in Web3. So even just the basic maternity support and coverage would be a dream to have projects that support that. But I love the idea of the expansive family of taking care. And I think it'd be amazing if we had funds that really went to however people define their family. If there's people that they're taking care of, to actually be able to send them that, whether it's extra funds or just a gift of acknowledgement in their moment of need. I think something like that can be super powerful at scale. And right now we just don't have the funds or the concerted effort or organization to do that. But that could be just, I think, really, really wonderful to have in this space.
Totally.
Yeah, for me, I think something that would be interesting to me is just helping families stick together. My wife travels a lot for work, and we're fortunate right now that my parents, A, live here, and B, there is childcare here, but that's not true at all events. So I would really like to see us help families stick together and have childcare, but not only childcare, like child education. It'd be pretty awesome for my girls to not only be being taken care of while I'm at an event, but also maybe being taught a little bit about what we're doing so that they can be ready for the next, steps in their life in Web3.
And obviously we cohabitate, so our needs are very similar. But for me, like I would really love to see FamilyDAO providing some of that support, because as parents or women that choose to travel with our children and bring our children, like it's at great expense. It's not only at great fiscal expense, our mental load is huge. Like you guys are all here, you know how crazy it is to register for events and things like that. Now imagine like feeding a child in between there and then making sure they have somewhere to be and things like that. So I think really building out the infrastructure for parents today that are incurring that expense to break the mold and to create these new infrastructures for us to ease that burden, because it's expensive. Traveling as a family of 4, sometimes I have to bring a caregiver. That's an extra hotel room. Like, it's insane. But the whole goal is that us doing sort of this hard and expensive work today makes it easier, and hopefully, things like ETH Denver that are limiting boundaries, like that we can do that for families, all encompassing. So that's what I'd love to see.
Yeah, and we'd like to give a shout out to Uli. Uli, who's in France, who's probably the main driver of FamilyDAO and Family Nouns. Couldn't be here, she has COVID, so she couldn't come to Denver. But she actually cares a lot about, like, if you're adopted or you're an orphan or whatever, like, or you just aren't close to your family or whatever. Like, family doesn't have to be their like blood family, your kids or your parents or your grandparents or your cousins. It can literally be a group of friends or people you cohabitate with, or there's houses of, a lot of nomadic people in this space, and everyone's moving around, and so like you might not be around your real family or your blood family, so your family is really like anyone or your DAO or your community. So family is, when we say family, it's really the broadest sense of family. The other really interesting point that she wanted me to stress is, though, what are kids good at? What are kids good at? Spreading germs, right? Really, really good at bringing germs from school and everything. You know what else they're good at? Spreading memes. And so Uli has a really strong belief that kids and parents and cousins and families can be some of the biggest meme spreaders in the world. And so, whether you like public goods, social causes, whatever, this whole space gets like driven by memes, right? And so, if we can leverage families to drive the memes behind all of the things that we're trying to accomplish, whether it's FamilyDAO or other beliefs and ethos of Web3, like we really need to like empower and strengthen families more. And so this project that's one of the goals. We have a few minutes left. So far, no one has bid. on family noun number 36. It probably looks like someone here. Not everyone has their wallet here, but if you want to join, we will have, maybe if a last thought we can each give about ETH Denver, what you learned this week so far, what you're excited for, how it relates to families. I checked out I didn't want to be like weird guy looking in the area, but there's like a Buffett kids hangout area upstairs. All these little kids are like playing and having an awesome time, and there's people looking after them. I wouldn't say go up there and check it out, but like it's awesome that it's here. There's an arcade over there. There's food everywhere, so it's a great place for families. But if you have a last thought, a wish, ask to the crowd, let's go through again.
Well, beyond the wish of just, please, if this interests you, support Family Nouns and get involved, I think my other wish would be to take awkward family photos while you're here. You know, get together with the people that make up your Web3 family. Get together and document this, because this is a really amazing artifact to be at this stage in the ecosystem where we are forging relationships and families and networks that are really leading us into the future. And the more we can bring our family in whatever sense that means together, the better. And so take pictures and enjoy your time here with your loved ones.
For me, I would say to anybody here who is a parent and doesn't have their loved one or kids here, I know it sounds crazy, but just bring them, bring them to these events. I mean, you look around, this place looks like it's meant for kids. There's buffalo unicorns, they're handing out stickers, they're handing out candy. It's like trick-or-treating. Is it gonna be easy? No, but bring your family, make it something that you guys can do together, especially if you have little kids. This is what we're building for them.
I think you guys covered it so well. No, I think my wish is here. I think Sky, and Uli's sentiments really here. And, family is important, right? The family you choose. And in Web3, especially those that travel a lot, sometimes we see each other more than our actual families. And I think that's such an important part about what we're doing here. Yes, you have your blood family, but you also have the family you choose, and the family that chooses you. And takes care of you. So look around, because right here we are all amongst family. And if I did any surveying at my last hackathon, most of y'all are planning on having some sort of family of your own if you don't have one now. So I hope that we can do this work to build that infrastructure, whether it's because you have children or because you don't have a relationship with your own parents or something like that, that we can really build this family space together.
Yeah, and the force. Some of us go to Burning Man, and I think for children, Burning Man is could be one of the coolest places a kid can go. This is probably the second best place. I agree, bring your children here and they will love it. Ethereum was built for every age, and I think, Ethereum and Web3, I say Ethereum, but it's greater than that, right? But I think there's gonna be schools where your kids can enroll and you're learning all of this from the start, and the values are programmed into the curriculum and the code that's running that school. Hopefully it's not run by AI, but I think that's going to happen. So we have 30 seconds left. Any last comment?
I want to shoot a quick thank you to the two tiny mini hackers in the front row there, because
raise your hand if you're a tiny hacker.
I would never try so hard in my life if they weren't mine. So they're my inspiration, and I hope that they help set the grounds for you guys in the future too.
Thanks everyone for coming.